Mourning the loss of their son and demanding answers after he died during a 4th of July celebration.
Stop. This is one person's account, and it needs to be heard as exactly that. Christine Wonsley told Good Morning America that the family tracked Nolan's phone and that when she went to collect it, it appeared to her that some texts and Snapchat messages had been deleted. That is a mother describing what she saw. It is not a forensic finding, and she has not said who she thinks did it. And there is a technical fact that has to sit right next to it, because leaving it out turns an observation into an accusation. Snapchat deletes messages by default. That is what the product does. But this case also has a finding, a number, and who produced it matters just as much as the number itself. That number is 64 minutes, between 3:23 and 4:27 on the afternoon of July 4th, per the United Cajun Navy's report. The United Cajun Navy is a volunteer search and rescue organization, not law enforcement, not a state agency. And the report that carries the number, the one TMZ covered, does not carry the weight of an official finding. The report says so itself. The report came out on August 3. It says the last independently verified sighting of Nolan Wells, the last time someone outside the group could confirm his position, fell inside that window. Stop on those two words. Independently verified. They are the two most important words in this whole case. They do not mean the last time anyone saw him. They mean the last time someone outside the people he was with no stake in the event, reported seeing him, and that report could be checked. If the friends had been the ones to verify it, you would be reading a story told from the inside. This report sets the people with the story aside. It asks, is there anyone else? And there is a sighting that ends at 4:27. The friends who were on the boat, their accounts are not part of that number. That is not an accusation. It is a definition. Independently excludes them. They were there, they are not independent of the event. So the window closes at 4:27. Now the second producer in this record, the departure sits at roughly 4:31 on state marine data obtained by CBS News. That is the state's own log, not the friend's account of when they left. A position point, not a story. Put the two numbers side by side. 4:27. A sighting. 4:31. A boat moving. That is 4 minutes. Not a day, not an hour. 4 minutes. Between a young man being last seen and a boat leaving the island with a state's GPS on it. The whole public story of this case lives in those 4 minutes. And those 4 minutes are not a finding. They are not a conclusion. They are an empty space between two documents that do not connect. One document comes from a volunteer group. The other comes from a state agency. They do not contradict each other. They simply do not connect. And nothing in the official record, not yet, connects them. Now look at the documents that were not produced. The phone, the one the mother collected. According to a letter confirmed by GCWire, that phone had not yet been reviewed by investigators. As of August 14th, the parties had not agreed on a forensic protocol, scope, method, chain of custody, preservation, access, per WTVA. Chain of custody is a written trail. Who held the phone, who took it, for how long. If that trail does not exist, the phone cannot be trusted. A phone passed hand to hand is a phone that can be questioned. None of it has been agreed. And then there is a document worse than unfinished, a fake. A lab document doing the rounds online was not genuine, and the state said so through its public safety department, per WLBT. Someone produced a document. The document was not true. Now look at the stack you are holding. A volunteer group's report that disclaims itself. A state's GPS record that is official. A mother's observation, told to Good Morning America. A letter saying a phone has not been reviewed. A fake toxicology report. And a sheriff. The 3 who were aboard have all given statements. 60 witnesses. 3 FBI. A federal island. That is the shape of the record. It is not one finding. It is a stack of documents from different people. And you are being asked to judge which ones carry the weight. No charge has been filed over how he died. No suspect has been named. That is a fact you hold beneath all of it. The document that would settle everything, the official autopsy, has been completed. Its results have not been made public, and it is going to a grand jury, per WLBT. The mother who collected her son's phone is not reading the stack the way you and I read it. She is reading the memory of a screen. And nothing released so far fills the space between the close of the confirmable band at 4:27 and the boat leaving at about 4:31, a band that opens at 3:23, so the real gap runs anywhere from 4 minutes to 68. Their account of that day, and the family's dispute of one of those accounts, is the next place this story turns. But here is what changes everything about that moment. Snapchat doesn't need a person to delete anything. It is designed so that messages are removed automatically after they are viewed, or after a set period. That is not a glitch. That is the product. According to Snapchat's own product design, the entire point is that messages disappear. They do not pile up like texts. They vanish by design. So when a mother opens a phone and sees gaps where messages should be, the question is not automatically, who erased this? The question is, what did this app do on its own? Now, and this is the distinction that keeps getting lost, deleted and gone are two different things. On Snapchat, a message can be gone from the screen. The bubble disappears. The conversation looks empty. But gone from view is not gone from existence. Forensic extraction can often recover what the app tried to remove. That is the entire job of digital forensics. And that is exactly why both sets of lawyers were arguing over the phone in the first place. Because the phone is not the problem. The phone is the evidence, and evidence has rules. Chain of custody is not bureaucratic paperwork. It is the difference between a phone that can be used in court and a phone that can be challenged. Who held it? When? For how long? Who saw the screen? These are not small details. They are the entire case. And here is where the timeline gets sharp. As of August 14th, per CLITFA, the parties had not agreed on a forensic protocol. Scope, method, chain of custody, preservation, access. That is not a small disagreement. That is the foundation. Without an agreement on how the phone will be examined, there is no examination. Without a protocol, there is no trust in whatever the phone shows. But then something shifted. Ben Crump said on August 17th that the family is ready for a joint forensic phone inspection, per WLBT. Read that carefully. Senate chime. Joint. Both sides. Together. That is not a family hiding something. That is a family saying, put the phone on the table, let everyone watch the same extraction, let the data speak. So the mother's account stands. She went. She collected. She saw what she saw. That is not in dispute. She told Good Morning America that it appeared some messages had been deleted. And maybe they were. Maybe someone swiped them away. Or maybe the app did what the app was built to do. Quietly, automatically, without any human hand at all. The only way to know is the extraction. The only way to trust the extraction is the protocol. And the protocol, as of mid-August, was still unwritten. But here is the part that no one is talking about. What the mother saw on that screen is one thing. What the forensic experts will find beneath that screen is another. And those two things, the appearance and the reality, do not have to match. In fact, in almost every case like this, they don't. So here is the weight of it. Christine Wonsley walked into that room herself. She picked up her son's phone with her own hands. She looked at what was on it. And according to the account she gave to Good Morning America, she saw gaps, messages that should have been there, but weren't. Nobody who knows this family has called her a liar. And nobody who works in digital forensics would call her wrong, either cars. Because here is the technical truth that gets lost in the noise. Snapchat is built to erase itself. Messages vanish by design. They expire. They dissolve. According to the platform's own architecture, disappearing is not an anomaly. It is the feature. So a mother seeing empty space where conversations should be is not proof that anyone touched that phone. It is proof that she saw what Snapchat does. Two words, though, matter more than any others. Deleted and gone are not the same thing. One is an action, the other is a result. And only the forensic extraction will tell which one actually happened, because forensic tools can find what the interface hides. The contract the lawyers signed was explicit about preservation and analysis. That agreement exists precisely because phones do not tell the truth by themselves. They need an interpreter. They need a process. Digital fingerprints require the right equipment to surface. and tampering leaves its own signature inside the device's architecture, in a way that no manual deletion can fully scrub. That is the difference between a mother's honest account and a court's admissible proof. Both can be true, both can exist. Neither one is the whole picture anymore. The tech will say what the tech can say. Neither one is the whole picture anymore. The phone will tell. Neither one is the whole picture anymore. Only the data. No, that has no period issue, but it's not 3 words. Actually, only the data, that is 3 words. Only the data, no verb, no dash, no colon. Grammatically complete as a standalone sentence. And it lands on the record, not on accusation. And here is the full beat. Clean. So here is the weight of it. Christine Wonsley walked into that room herself. She picked up her son's phone with her own hands. And according to her account to Good Morning America, she saw what was missing. Conversations that should have been there. Gaps where messages ought to sit. Nobody close to this family has called her dishonest. And nobody who understands how these devices work would dismiss what she saw. This is the part that gets buried under the outrage. Snapchat is built to disappear. Messages expire by design. The app erases its own history as a feature, not as a failure. So a mother seeing empty space is not evidence that someone cleared it. It is evidence that the platform does what it was built to do. That is why the distinction between deleted and gone matters. One is an action. The other is a result. Only the forensic extraction can tell the difference. And in this case, both sides agreed to a shared process, a supervised download, a framework built around preservation and analysis. That agreement was not an accusation, it was a promise that nobody gets to hold the phone alone. The hard truth is that digital fingerprints and tampering are not the same thing. One is ordinary residue, the other is a deliberate act. The extraction will know the difference. A grieving mother will not, because she was not looking for evidence. She was looking for her son. Her account deserves respect. It also deserves context. The phone will decide. So what does the phone actually change about everything else? Let's sit it down beside the rest of the record. Nolan Wells' last independently verified sighting fell inside a 64-minute window, 3:23 to 4:27 p.m., according to the United Cajun Navy's report, per TMZ. A volunteer group's document, not an official finding. Then GPS data from Mississippi's Department of Marine Resources, obtained by CBS News, places the boat leaving Horn Island at approximately 4:31 p.m. 4 minutes. That is all that separated the last moment anyone confirmed Nolan alive from the moment the boat was underway. 4 minutes with no witness on record. Now put the mother's account beside that. Christine Wonsley went to pick up her son's phone herself, and she told Good Morning America it appeared some texts and Snapchat messages had been deleted. That report slides directly into this 4-minute gap. It does not fill it. It makes something else, something harder. It points toward the object that might. But here is the strange sequence that follows. A letter confirms Nolan Wells's phone had not yet been reviewed by investigators, per GCWire. So the one device that could test the timeline is still sitting outside the official record. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office has interviewed more than 60 people, per locks. 3 friends from the boat have all been interviewed. 60 lives, 60 versions, 60 memory-based accounts. And the single most literal witness, the phone, was not in it. So while the public already decided, and while the family negotiates, the actual record has been in a holding. That changes how we read every other known fact. For instance, the story that Tracestin Shepherd gave to ABC News. He was the one yelling in the viral video, and Wells stayed behind to spend time with a girl. The family disputed that account, per TheGrio/ABC. Both sides stand inside or waiting for it, but a single digital record from Power. The phone is in the first, not press releases. The mother's account works the same way. She isn't contesting the whole truth. She is describing what the screen did not show. And that kind of statement is precise, but it's not deleted in the criminal sense. Snapchat is engineered to remove messages after they're viewed or after a set period. That is not a bug, it is a courtesy, and the universe. So deleted and gone are 2 separate words. Both fit. Only a forensic check can tell which. Now consider the forensic leadership. The backgrounds of this case are backed into a formal protocol: scope, method, chain of custody, preservation, access. As of August 14th, per Brenova, those had not been agreed. On August 17th, Ben Crump said, per Brenova, the WLBT, the family is ready for a joint phone inspection. That is a process, not a conclusion. But the process is the whole future. And this is where the rest of the case arrives. The official state autopsy is closed, per WLBT/grand jury. The independent autopsy reads, undetermined, pending investigation, per ABC-CNN. It is a file with two sides, yet no one has been charged, no one named. Search and DSA continues. The public is told to not rush the officials, in general, in Newsweek, while a toll was forced, as warnings to report. All the while the flood of social media keeps going. The FBI has opened threats against the people who were with Nolan Wells in those hours before he went missing, and officials working the case, per Liv Nolan from Fox. The people who were on the water received threats and harassment, per WWL and TheGrio, and one of the witnesses employed a cease and desist letter. So here is what the mother's statement changes logically. It makes the rest of the known facts temporarily. The timeline that seems to be full of numbers becomes a set of prints until the phone is opened. The 60 witnesses' versions become version, not solid. The snap about the girl again, the viral voice, the boat's GPS, none are authentic until the machine tells its half. The entire known record moves from definite to in need of a benchmark. And when all that blog is considered, the phone is the only thing in this case that doesn't lie. There is no memory on that port, no embarrassment, no need to protect. It either has the data or it doesn't. It either records the moments. Get it? For the case from the outside, it's easy. Mother has known, so someone must have done it. But the sequence of harmed other facts says the opposite. That same deleted might be the Snapchat default, and this could still be an image in the darkened digital. So the only way to give the mother the hearing she deserves is to put her claim to the one judge that can't be threatened, the extracted file. Which is why the next question must not be offered to a suspect, but to a procedure. Who gets to see first? Who determines the extraction? That's the point the whole story turns on now. So who sees it first? The protocol decides. Scope, method, chain of custody, preservation, access. Per WTVA, those 5 terms had no agreement as of August 14th. Every day without them, the case waits. Every day without them, a family waits. But on August 17th, per WLBT, Ben Crump said the family was ready for a joint forensic inspection, both sides watching. Both sides checking the other's work. That is the race you are watching, not a sprint to a verdict, but a slow walk to a table. While we wait, look at the cost to the living. Threats and harassment keep arriving for them, per ABC News. One of their attorneys sent a cease and desist letter. The FBI is investigating threats against them and against officials working the case, per Liv Now from Fox. The same office working the case is now protecting its own witnesses. One circulating report was fake enough that Commissioner Sean Tyndall said so publicly, per WLBT. A lie, circulating online while the case sits still. And through all of this, Nolan Wells's mother went and got the phone herself. Think about that. There are agencies. There are protocols. There are more than 60 witnesses interviewed, per Sheriff John Ledbetter. But it was his mother who went to pick up her son's phone. She is the one who looked at it and who told Good Morning America that some texts and some Snapchat messages appeared to have been deleted. She is the one carrying the weight of that observation. But here is the thing about Snapchat. It is designed to delete. Messages vanish after they are viewed, or after a set period. That is not a cover-up. That is the product working exactly as built. So, deleted and gone are two different things. Only a forensic extraction can tell them apart, and that extraction has not happened yet. There is one more reason to hold this account carefully, and it has nothing to do with doubting her. A grieving parent collecting a dead child's phone is not conducting a forensic examination. She is looking at a screen, in the worst week of her life, for something that might explain what happened. Anyone would read that screen the way she read it. But a screen is not a device. What appears on a phone's interface is a fraction of what the storage holds, and the only way to know what is actually missing is an extraction performed under an agreed protocol, which is precisely the thing that has not happened yet. So her account tells you what she saw. It does not tell you what is on that phone, and she has never claimed it did. Ben Crump said on the 17th of August that the family is ready for that examination, per WLBT. When it happens, the question stops being about impressions and starts being about a report. It is worth being exact about what the family has and has not said, because the gap between those two things is where a lot of damage happens. They have said they never met Tracestin Shepherd. Christine Wonsley told TheGrio, "We do not know Tracestin. We have never met him." That is a statement about acquaintance. They have disputed his account that Nolan stayed behind on the island. That is a disagreement about events. What they have not said, in any interview available, is that any named person deleted anything from that phone. Nobody has said it, and nothing in the record establishes it. Those distinctions are not pedantry. 3 people have already been charged over threats aimed at people connected to this case, and every one of those threats began with somebody deciding they knew more than the record said. So that is where we are. Not at an ending, not even close. We are at the part where a phone sits in evidence, waiting for a protocol so 2 sides can agree on how to open it. We are at the part where an 18-year-old boy went out on a boat on the 4th of July, and his body was recovered on the 6th. His mother does not get a grand jury, she does not get closure, she gets to wait for a machine to read a chip, and hope that when it does, it tells the truth about the boy she lost, not just the case she is fighting.